Today, I want to start a conversation. I want to start a conversation about a college experience that many students face, and that's the experience of food insecurity. Now, when I say the word food insecurity, what probably comes to your mind is the word hunger. But hunger is just a consequence of food insecurity because food insecurity is not having access to nutritious or culturally appropriate foods. It's not knowing how or when your next meal is going to be. It's known as a hidden epidemic on our college campuses, and it's hidden for various reasons. But one of the reasons it's hidden is because those who are experiencing food insecurity, they don't talk about it. And I know that they don't talk about it because I was a food insecure college student, and I never shared my experience with anyone, nor did I seek help for it. I often attended class having skipped a meal at some point in time in that day, so I would go to class tired and hungry. And when you're tired and hungry, you don't do well on the exam, and when you don't do well on the exam, you fail the course. Now, when you fail the course, that leads to a domino effect of other negative personal and academic outcomes. But this food insecure college student did graduate. So some might say, see, you're still a success. You graduated. But graduation is not the determining factor of student success. It is a factor, but it is not the factor. Now, fast forward to today, and I am now the director of a college campus food pantry, and I have the opportunity to work with some amazing students, and I help them redefine student success. Now, when I began my position as a director, I was also at the beginning of my doctoral research, and so I started looking at my own food insecurity, my experience, and I asked the question, who is dealing with food insecurity in college and why? What are we doing to address it? And what I have learned and what I am learning is that we often look at college food insecurity through a single lens. So we look at it as low socioeconomic status and how that correlates to food insecurity. But to really see and understand food insecurity at its core, you have to see it through an intersectional lens. And it was Kimberly Crenshaw who coined the term intersectionality. And her definition is simply put, certain aspects of who you are will increase your access to good things or your exposure to bad things in life. So today I want to share, through an intersectional lens, the experiences of 5 students, along with their original photography so that you can see through their lens what it's like to be a food insecure college student. Now, the 5 students that I had the opportunity to speak with, Juan, Anitra, Zamora, Adrian, and Colette, they are all amazing individuals. One common identity that these 5 students had is they are a first-generation college student. Now, to be a first-generation college student means you are the first in your family to attend college. And speaking with Anitra, she was beaming with pride. My parents are proud. I am proud. I am not only changing the economic trajectory for myself, but I am changing the economic trajectory for future generations. The moment that I knew I was a first-gen college student, I was filled with pride and joy. But the experience has been one of the hardest things of my life. And it's hard because I am the first. No one has done this before me. So when I began to struggle, academics, financial, with food insecurity, no one could help me navigate this system. My parents couldn't help me. My friends couldn't help me. I could not help me. I could not help me because I didn't even know what to ask, let alone who to ask. Another common identity that these 5 students share is that they come from low middle-class families. Now, these 5 students have worked throughout high school, helping support and pay bills with their family. But now they work in college, and they work for a different reason because their family claims them as a dependent, but they operate financially independent. They are paying tuition. They are paying for living expenses. They are paying to help make ends meet. You're too poor to pay for college, but not poor enough to receive a substantial financial aid package that really makes a difference. So all these expenses, they come out of my pocket. That was one. And the photos that you see were also submitted by Juan. And the first one's entitled All I Have, and the second is entitled Rationing. Because it's at this intersection of being a first-gen, low-middle-class student that, yes, the moment that you realize you are about to change your economic trajectory, that one moment, it is full of pride and joy. But this is the reality. This is the experience, the day in and day out struggle for many first-gen, low-middle-class students. Now, throughout my conversation, one thing became clear, and that was how culture and gender influence these students. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Anitra, Zamora, and Colette are all young women. Anitra and Zamora come from a Hispanic culture, and Colette comes from a Chinese culture, but they all grew up here in the States. These three young ladies told me they anticipated food insecurity because of who they are. Because they are women, they anticipated being food insecure in some point in time in their life. Their culture, their gender, at that intersection, they have a role. Women have roles, and their role is that they are to cook, clean, take care of others. Their needs come last. So they expected to deal with food insecurity. Juan and Adrian are both Hispanic young men. They work very, very hard, and they work hard to provide for themselves and for their family. When their food insecurity was at an all-time high, they both told me they had to come to terms with who they were before they could accept their situation, before they could accept assistance from anyone else. The photos that you see was submitted by Anitra, and it's her abuelita cooking family dinner, as she does about every evening. And the second was submitted by Juan, and it's at his job, taking a lunch break. Because you see at this intersection of culture and gender, individuals who are making independent decisions, possibly for the very first time, you see how they are influenced on how they perceive their situation and even how they respond to their situation. Now, set those identities aside. One identity every 2-year, 4-year college student has is that they identify as a college student. Being a college student comes with its own identity. So I ask you, what is the typical diet of a college student? And I'm sure what comes to your mind is what you see on this screen. And this is a reflection of the current state of the pantries of Adrian, Colette, and Anitra. And what comes to your mind is cheap, efficient, processed, zero nutritional value meals. Why did that come to your mind as a typical college student diet? Because we as a society have normalized college student food insecurity. We say it is a time in every college student's life that they are going to be financially strained, living off these types of foods. In addition to that, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP, and the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Program, known as TANF, they have eligibility restrictions placed specifically on college students. Now, in kindergarten through high school, there's a program, the Free and Reduced Lunch Program. If individuals are not enrolled in college, you have the ability to apply for SNAP and TANF. But because you are in college, you are more than likely ineligible. We as a society make it so and normalize college student food insecurity because our policies and practices are put in place. Pre-COVID, 1 in 3 college students were dealing with food insecurity. That number is now 3 in 5. Being a food insecure college student is emotionally, physically, and mentally exhausting, with long-term negative effects both in and outside the classroom. It is a complex issue, and we cannot allow it to continue being under-recognized, under-examined, and under-addressed. So as I wrap up today, food for thought is not just a catchphrase. It is a call for change. It is a call for action. Because our students, each of you, each of me, we deserve an equitable chance at real student success. Thank you.